Okay, there's the big building. You can call it the gas works. That's where all the hot air comes out of this town. Is Congress. Yeah. But what's important is what they could help you with now. And actually, it's helped you or your neighbor. I mean, that's another thing. It's hard to get this stuff, and it takes work and effort and perseverance. I think one way to learn is by getting it for somebody else. So you have a friend or relative who has financial problems or has to go to school or healthcare problems or whatever like that. Well, contact your elected official and see how you could help them. See, sometimes it's easier, like, if you're in the hospital and you're sick, it's hard to be your own advocate. But you get a relative come in there and sit in a hospital, and you're an advocate. See, and you could use these elected officials, but like everything in the bureaucracy, where it's public or private, to me, Google is a bigger bureaucracy than any government agency. You try to call somebody at Google, you're not going to get anybody on the phone. You kidding me? And so the bureaucracies are the same thing. But I think more importantly is how to use the bureaucracies. And a lot of us don't have a lot of things to do because we're unemployed, out of work. So take a few hours out of today, tomorrow, the next few days, and see what you could get from your elected official. Not only for you, but see, maybe just have somebody else in mind. Like there's Rose that works with me on doing research. She helped a woman on Let's Go Help, and she was telling her all kinds of sources. And until she called the elected official, and actually in that case, it was the mayor, and the mayor got her a new roof. And that's the kind of help you have there. Just don't bitch about these elected officials. You bitch at election time when you vote. Don't bitch now. Use them, no matter what party they're in, because they have access to this. This is why this town is so rich, and people are all here. And unfortunately, the rich use the hell out of these things. So you can too. And they are offer anything, whether it's jobs, job training. They know the program. They have people on their staff. That's all they do, is help people with problems in their, district. That is their job. And so if it's money to get a contract, to get a business, to get a job, any of these kind of things. I mean, the worst case is they say no, but they're not going to charge you. They can't. It's against the law. And some of them who do charge, bribery it's called, they get caught. And sometimes they get caught doing that. So that's why you have it. And see, everything you see now in our economy, the only money that's out there really is government money. Everybody else, it shrunk so much, there's hardly anything out there. So that's why. So how do you find these people? Okay, there's one thing to do is go to something on the internet. If you're there, is commoncause.org. Common, COMMONCAUSE.org, and you could put in your zip code and find the elected officials for you. Now at the federal level, which where I am, you have your two senators and one congressman. Okay. They call out three. What the hell? And so many members call up and say, God, they call me back. A lady from the office called me back and is working on my problem. That's it. It's not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And that's why sometimes it's easier to be more forceful if you're trying to get this help for somebody else instead of yourself. Because you feel embarrassed or whatever. So find a friend that has a problem, can't get a job, going to lose their house or something like that, any of those kinds of things, and start working through your congressman. And don't stop. Start at one, keep going. Now here's a phone number too you could all use. I just called. It took me a little bit to get through. Just wait on hold. And what they do, you just tell them your zip code, and they'll give you the phone number of the office of your elected official. And this is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. And that's the Capitol Hill switchboard. So they got a switchboard, like back in the 50s. They got a switchboard up there, And a lot of government runs that way, from the 50s. But you can use it, and they give you the phone number, and then you call, directly, tell them your problem, tell them where you live, because they'll want to know that anyway, because that means you're a voter. And see, now, this is the best time to call them. Why? Elections are coming, yippee-yoo! How do they get elected? By you voting, right? How do they get you to vote? They take your phone call, they call some bureaucrat agency, because they've done this 1,000 times already, know exactly who could help you, and hook you guys up, and you vote for that son of a bitch no matter what they do. This is how they get elected every day. But it's important. I think it's also important for you to work on the problem, not only for you, but for somebody else. If you're blue like me or whatever, I mean, what I do is I go on Let's Go Help and answer questions and try to help other people. If we're helping other people, we're taking ourselves out of the equation. We're not worrying about our own self. And that's a problem with too many people, rich people. All they're worrying about getting more money, not helping other people. I think we have politicians like that. I may be wrong, but you let me know. And so that's why with our own lives, shit ain't going good. I can't get a job, man. I can't find that $5,000 I need. Okay, go to someone you need, or you know of, or a neighbor or something, and you know they're struggling with something. If you're not, call a senior citizen home. Go to 211 and look for groups that help, homeless, help out of work people, help whatever. Call them up and say, hey, how can I help? Volunteer for you and try to find help for these guys, or person or whatever, and just volunteer like that. And this is way, number one, you're going to learn the system. Number two, you're going to learn it, be more motivated to learning, because you're helping somebody else, not your own greedy self. But sometimes it's not the greed that you need. It's just we feel embarrassed asking for help, so we're not as forceful. See, and that's why it's easier, if you're out there trying to help for somebody else, than just yourself. So, and now, particularly if you're not working or whatever, take half the day, use these systems like this, call up congressmen, elected officials, senators, and state representatives, and say, hey, I know this lady down the street, I know she's 65 years old and her furnace went off, or whatever the hell it is, and can you help me help her? And just do that. What is it going to do? It's going to waste a half hour of your time or something like that, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. What'd you do the last 3 hours? I mean, time goes by like in a sandbox. It just goes through our hands so easily. I don't know. I turned on YouTube this morning and I saw 2 or 3 advertisements of young guys, telling you how to make millions of dollars, and they're in their front of their expensive hotel or their corporate jet or all this kind of shit. What bullshit. What a terrible way to live. We got bigger problems than that in life, instead of figuring out how you can get a personal jet, right? I mean, sure, it's nice and I understand it, been there myself. But and now with everything going on in our life, doesn't that sound just absolute fucking nonsense? There are too many other things that we should be all concerned with, and really right in our own community. If we don't start helping our own community, it's obviously nobody else is going to do it. The whole world is going down the toilet. And then also, we can't relate to people. We can't even go to a coffee shop anymore, or whatever. So you could relate to people, touch people, or whatever. This way. Find somebody. And I don't know if you know Zoom. That's a good way to contact friends or whatever, video-wise, or FaceTime if you have an iPhone, or WhatsApp. If you have not an iPhone, and all these are video things, very easy. Download one little thing, like WhatsApp, and you're there. Anybody else, and you want to talk to somebody like that, tell them to download it. I mean, it's a time to learn this stuff. Hey, I need training. Okay, call them. Call your elected official and ask them, hey, I can't get a goddamn job. Or the neighbor, I know, they're smart enough to learn something, but they don't have money to pay $100,000 to go to college. That's crazy. You can't do that. It's like buying a corporate jet. There's too many other ways, to get through life nowadays without having a gazillion dollars of money. But it takes effort. They take effort to find it too, and that's why it starts. And I think I really think, when I get blue or whatever, it's really, that's why I'm so grateful for having a profession where I'm trying to help other people, and that takes you out of your own troubles, because we all got troubles. We're all fighting some demon we have inside, no matter what the hell it is. And it's hard to get past that. And you start thinking about that, then that's a rabbit hole you never get out of, right? So the way to do it is doing something for somebody else. And all this stuff is for free. And that's right. If you're using it for somebody else, then you grow, because you grow about the knowledge of what life is out there, and what's possibly available. Hey, I'd like one of those too. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, and that's what's neat. It's all about possibilities and options and whatever. So this is a way to start training yourself to learn about options, and it's not for your own life, and it will be eventually, but it's for someone else's, because that could give you the idea. We all want to give in life, and I think the older I get, man, that's the only thing we got. How much money are you going to put in the basement, like Scrooge McDuck? Yeah. We're here to help and to give to other people, and that's the way we learn, that's the way we grow, and that's the way the heart grows. This is why we're in hearts now, man. This is more important than information. Finding the right office up there is a numbers game, but if your heart ain't in it, it ain't gonna work. And that's the key to it. Well, thanks for putting up with me. I got to do 3 more miles to get back to where I live, but it's fun, and I appreciate every one of you that take the time to listen and make me want to do more, because the feedback I hear, hey, I did this. Today I was looking for some of the things that people talked about yesterday. I got this from this guy. I got that from the guy. You didn't get it from me. You got it from what our society has. It's the world or our culture, whatever the hell. I'm a pea or a grain of sand, maybe trying to point you, but it's there. Maybe I'll save you some time, but it's there with or without me. And remember that part too.